Can you tell us, Dr. Mitchell, exactly what the locals of Roswell told you, if you could remember specifics?
On the mic.
Yeah.
The essence was that the Roswell event was an alien craft, that it was not of this planet. That's the essence. What they really told me was their particular, each one had some particular part of it, like a sheriff's deputy was controlling traffic but heard from what the other people what was going on. The family of the undertaker told about the small coffins that were created for the alien bodies. And my Air Force family friend said yes, he had heard the same thing from Major Brazel. Each one of them just told what their portion of the activity was all about. So putting it all together, the sum total was, yes, it was an alien spacecraft.
After I came back from space and was lecturing around and visiting back home, some of them came to me and pulled me aside and told me their story, that they had been shut up after the Roswell incident, and they were now older. They didn't want to take their story to the grave, and they wanted it out. And they figured I was trustworthy since I was a local boy and been to the moon. It would be okay if I took their story. So I promised them I wouldn't tell their names, but I would carry their story forward. A few years ago, 10 years ago, I did take the story to the Pentagon. I did have a meeting with high-level intelligence people, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. I did tell the story with a couple of other, with another naval officer and Stephen Greer, Dr. Stephen Greer, if you've heard that name, and told my story of what I knew about the Roswell incident, and subsequently had it confirmed that it was true, and that the individual who I told this with had tried to get into it to find out personally about the information, and he was rejected, as many others have been rejected, to have firsthand knowledge of the cover-up. In any event, however, the fact that the Roswell incident was real has been confirmed.
We have to remember that right after World War II, the Army Air Force was separated and became the Air Force, a separate branch of service, and that the OSS, which was the Office of Special Services, was disbanded and eventually became the CIA. So that here was a major military organization and a major intelligence organization totally in disarray, new-founded, didn't know what they were doing after World War II, and not really reorganized yet. And as a result of that, the President Truman at that time convened a very high-level committee to examine this alien or UFO phenomenon. They did come to the conclusion that it was alien, and the military rightly came to the conclusion, if they're hostile, there's nothing we can do about it. Therefore, their choice was to deny it and to hush it up and create the National Security Act of 1947, which validated that deception and covered it up and allowed the group to go underground, as it were. And we've been living with that now for 50 years. It is really the beginning of the whole cover-up, the entire denial of this phenomenon, and the addition of dismissal, disinformation, misinformation to cloak and to discourage investigation, to misinform. It's just been continuous for many, many years now. Eventually it came away from the fear, I believe, of not being able to protect and do their duty to the notion of power and control, controlling the knowledge and the technology. And the group involved with that is still doing it. We have created our reality here, and we have created it right now rather badly, for it's not a sustainable reality. We have created, with our science and technology, instead of using it for the greater good, it's been captured by interest, greed, self-service, which is rife, and instead of using it, all of our technology and our brilliance and genius for greater good, we use it for self-service. And that's not going to work. It's important that we look at our civilization, our place in history, use our tools of science for greater understanding, to promote the greater good, and that's what it's all about.
I happen to be privileged enough to have be in on the fact that we have been visited on this planet, and the UFO phenomenon is real, although it's been covered up by our governments for quite a long time.